Hey guys, Don Durrett, Gold Stock Data. I'm going to do you another video today. I'm going to do top 20 silver stocks. I did one of these recently, but I did a panel discussion at the VRIC conference, um, and I think it was a little over a week ago. And I said that did the top 15, my top 15 silver stocks. And I thought, well, when I did that, I did it fairly quickly and said I'd do it again and go over these names a little more thoroughly, I suppose. And that was 15, but I've expanded this one to 20. And then I'm going to go over the names of the stocks that aren't on this list. So you're looking at it and you're like, you probably have a few names that you like and they're not on here. And so I'm going to explain why they're not on here. And the other reason why I'm doing this is because yesterday I posted on Twitter 50, it says 58 gold producers, but it was actually 53 gold producers. And then somebody asked me to do the silver producers, and I did that. And it was 16 names, which, um, and so I decided to do that as well. So I've sorted this by category. So the producers are at the top. So we have the majors, mid-tier producers, emerging mid-tier producer. So we have 16 producers on this list, and then we have two near-term producers and two development plays. So basically 18. And then the list that I did yesterday had Impact Silver was one of the 16, and then today I realized that I couldn't leave off America's Gold and Silver. And I'll tell you why. And so I had to replace one. So I took Impact off. But I do like Impact. Um, but I wanted to limit it to 20. So I'm going to work down this list fairly quickly. And they're just sorted by category. So category, I don't know why First Majestic is above Coeur. I don't know how the sorting works. Maybe it's symbol first. I'm not sure. So if we go to mid-tier producer, no, that doesn't work. So I'm not sure how that sorting works. It's probably how it was added to the database. So First Majestic, they got healthy. So all the Mormons are on here. So First Majestic. So the Mormons are the eight prettiest girls. So the eight quality um, producers. So we have First Majestic of the top eight: Coeur, Fresnillo, Hecla, Pan American. So those first five. Then we go down to Aya, um, Endeavor, Hochschild. Is that eight? Fresnillo. Yeah, we already got them. So one, two, three, four, five, six. Endeavor seven, and then Hochschild is eight. So those are the eight Mormons, the elite eight. I don't know if I really need to discuss the elite eight. First Majestic, they just acquired Gatos. That closed. That's a done deal. It's a game changer for First Majestic. Fixes their problem with free cash flow. They weren't generating enough cash, and their stock was just, it wasn't doing anything. It was just going down, down, down. It really hasn't bounced as much as it's going to once we're looking at it's trading at $5.60. So once First Majestic has a good quarter, they need to come in with an ASIC around $20. I think they were about 23 before Gatos. So we get somewhere around 20. Um, this stock should double, I would think. And then Coeur, their deal with Silvercrest, the reason why Silvercrest isn't on here is because that deal is going to close next Friday. And that's another, so First Majestic got healthy with their cash flow. And then Coeur, by picking up Gatos, that's going to lower their cost as well. Um, it was a really good addition for Coeur. So both of these companies improved significantly. And then we have Fresnillo, and Fresnillo is one of the largest, if not the largest. I don't think the are the largest, but they produce over 50 million ounces of silver. So they're one of the top silver producers in the world, definitely in the top three. And they just haven't been getting any value. So it's just a matter of time before um, we see, looking for the margin. Did I pass it up? I didn't pass it up. So, um, oh, here, this is what I was looking for, margin dollar, margin. I was looking for the multiple. Hmm. Why aren't you showing me the multiple? There it is. This is the current cash flow multiple. So Fresnillo is trading at a 7. That is, pretty ridiculous. Hecla at 23 is, much more in a line with the quality. People want to buy Hecla. I think part of this has to do with they're trading in London. They don't trade in New York. They trade over the counter pinks. But you can see this is really, really low multiple. Um, Hecla, it's Hecla. I have Core rated number one after they're doing this Silvercrest deal, and they're pretty cheap at an 8. Hecla and Core are going to be your go-to stocks when silver breaks out because they're the only two companies that are overweight North America. So safety. There isn't any mid-tier silver producers in Australia, and there isn't any in Canada or US except for Core and Hecla. So they're the only go-to stocks. And then we go to Pan American. Pan American's trading at a 9. They only get 25% of the revenue from silver, but they're on this list because they have two very large mines that they could build that would take their percentage of silver up to like 40%. If they One of the mines is Argentina, the other is in Guatemala. That's why they're on this list. They have a lot of silver resources. Adriatic, they just started producing, so they have a multiple of 5, so they're pretty darn cheap. And they're going to be generating a lot of free cash flow. We're just waiting on Adriatic. We're waiting for their first quarter results because they're just ramping up now. But so far, we haven't seen any bad news. So it looks really, really positive for Adriatic. Silver Santa Cruz. The reason Santa Cruz is on this list, um, some people, this is one of those ones that's kind of marginal, but they produce 5 million ounces of silver a year, and they're currently trading at 13. So you can see um, investors do like them. Um, but Santa Cruz um, have a market cap of 103 million, and they're producing 5 million ounces a year. So you get a lot of leverage. And then with that 5 million ounces, it's mainly a zinc mine. So we're using the zinc as offsets, but that they still are going to get a lot of leverage from the 5 million ounces a year of production. Um, so if I go all the way over to the upside, so we go cash flow, cash flow. This is the one that I'm looking for here. If we look at the cash flow upside, we look at Santa Cruz, it prints as a 20 bagger. Now this is all at $100 silver. But if we get $4,000 gold, say next year, the year after, and we get a 40 GSR, gold silver ratio, it takes silver to 100. If we get a 50 GSR, it takes silver to 80. So I think we're going to get somewhere between 80 and $100 silver at $4,000 gold. And you can see all of these silver stocks are all at 800 or higher. Pan American is the lowest at 750. Hecla is at 900, 895. Most of these are at 10. You got First Majestic at 11, 11 bagger, Coeur at 10, Fresnillo 10, Adriatic 12, Santa Cruz 20. So that's why it's on here. Next one, Andean 17. Um, Andean, they bought a gold miner in California. I didn't really like it, but they still have a good balance sheet and they're cheap. You can see that 17. Um, and Andean, as long as they keep generating that free cash flow out of Bolivia, I'm not too concerned about their gold mining, that gold mine they have in California. It has a short mine life, 6 to 8 years, but um, I just think that Andean's free cash flow in Bolivia puts them on this. They deserve to be owned at, with this kind of upside. We got Avino as a 30 bagger, which is the cheapest one. Well, Guanajuato's cheaper at 33, but they're both 30. We got Aya 8, Silver Corp 10, Endeavor 12. America's Gold and Silver, that's why I had to put them on here, 13, Guanajuato 30, Hashav 14, Go Gold 25. Silver Storm, this is another one people will say why it's not on here. It's on here because 26. Discovery 17. This was like 35, but they just did an acquisition. So they're going to dilute their shares. They're basically, that really, slowed them down a little bit. But I think Discovery is a legit 16, 15 plus bagger. And then we've got Silver Tiger at 17 and then Vizsla at 9. So these companies, these top 20 have huge leverage. So those are future upside. And then the margin, um, now I'm having trouble finding it. The multiple. Yeah, so I'm looking at the wrong thing. The multiple. We'll go back to this is the current multiple, and then the other one was the upside at $100 silver. So we're back at we did Santa Cruz. I talked about Andean. You see, Andean's trading at 2 right now. So that's one of the reasons it's on here is it's super cheap. They are generating a lot of free cash flow. Um, Decent balance sheet. You can look, you can look at the cost. So these are the cost right here. Um, the ones in purple, these guys aren't producing yet. So that's estimated future. This is future. But here we have the cost. So these guys are everybody on here is actually generating the highest one I have America's at 27 and Guanajuato at 30. So Guanajuato at 30, and then I have Santa Cruz at 30. So these are, they're basically breaking even today. But once you get to 35, they basically get healthy. And look at Adriatic's at 16, which is outstanding. We got I at 19, Silver Corp at 19. Anything 20 or less. I got First Majestic at 25, so that would be an ASIC of about 20. And I got Core at 25, ASIC at 20. Fresnillo, I have about ASIC at 19. Hecla, ASIC of, 21. So Hecla is supposed to be a low cost producer. Well, they're not anymore. Core has caught up with them. So okay, we can leave it here. So Andean Avino, I showed you was a 30 bagger. It's traded at 50 multiple. The thing I like so much about Avino is it's basically a growth story. They have 350 ounces of silver equivalent. And so I like growth stories. I mean, of all the stocks on here, they're the number one growth story. The other one is a Discovery, Silver Tiger, Go Gold. Those are all growth stories as well. But of the existing producers, nobody really has the growth that Avino has. Aya with their Boumadine project definitely has some excellent growth. That's the reason why Aya is trading at a 30. I didn't realize Aya was so high at 30, but their Boumadine project is just fantastic. And it looks like everybody's starting to bid them up based on the expectation of Boumadine. And then we have Terranera coming online, and that's the reason why you have Endeavor at 33, Silver Corp at an 8. So they're just, people are a little apprehensive about owning Silver Corp because all their silver production comes out of China. But I like their two projects they're building in Ecuador. They have a copper gold project and they're building now, and then they have a large, very large, low grade gold project that they're going to build next. Plus, their silver production is expanding in China. So I like Silvercorp there. Endeavor, the reason why it's at 33 is because of the growth story. Terranera is going to come online. It's going to add a lot of free cash flow. So this will drop once Terranera comes online this year. The multiple is based on their cash flow, the free cash flow multiple. That's what this is. Current free cash flow multiple. So if you take the free cash flow times 33, that's their market cap. So it'll drop. This will drop down. America's gold and silver. This is another growth story. It's trading at 25. Um, Galena mine. A lot of people don't like America's gold and silver because of their past. They've had trouble historically, but they brought in a new CEO from, I think his name's Paul Hewitt, from Karora. He has a very good track record at Karora. He did a great job there. And the Galena mine is really a really strong mine. And they just acquired 100% of it. They bought back 40% from Eric Sprott, who's now their largest shareholder. But the Galena project alone is worth their market cap. Um, they have, you know, I have the gray, but I don't have the actual resources. I have to scroll to the right. Might as well. Okay, so here we have measured and indicated. So we're doing America's gold and silver. Um, they have 100 million ounces of silver, M&I, and if we go to, this is total resources. So we have 226. Um, that's a lot of silver and gives them a lot of upside potential. So it's, I see this company growing to um, 6, 7, 8 producer. And then if you and Galena has a lot of upside potential, exploration potential, a lot of targets. The Galena mine, I'm definitely, um, and it's in Idaho. So you put together, resources with a CEO with a good location, and I like it. I mean, he's traded at 25, but they're going to grow production. Guanajuato trading at 17. The reason why is because it has so much leverage, but I don't, Guanajuato doesn't have a lot of growth potential. I think they're about 4 million. They might get to 5, but I don't see Guanajuato as a 6 million ounce producer unless they do an acquisition. But their current properties, they're just trying to hang on and grow a little bit, 4 to 5. But they don't have, fantastic exploration. The thing about Guanajuato is, they just have really high leverage to the silver price. So their ASIC is about $25, which is high. So they're not generating any cash flow right now. We might get diluted if silver prices don't go higher. I think they did dilutions twice last year. So we might get diluted again. And so, they're basically a high cost producer and they don't have much of a pipeline, but I have them on here because they just have a lot of leverage. You saw that I showed you the upside. Every stock's basically a 10 to 20 bagger. So they're on here for that. Hochschild, look how cheap Hochschild is. And we had Fresnillo at a 7. Now we have a Hochschild at a 4.3. So I like Hochschild a lot. They have 2 gold projects they have one that they just brought online in Brazil, and they have another one they're going to build that they got from Cerrado. Those 2 mines alone, maybe not worth their market cap, but then we get all of their projects in Peru, which is kind of their base. And Hochschild, it's basically a very big, lot of silver, a lot of gold, strong management team. I mean, when you can buy a company, when you can buy one at that multiple, they're just giving it away basically. Okay, now we get to the development. So those are the 15 producers. Gold is not a silver producer yet. They're a tailings producer. They're producing, I think, 1 million ounces a year of tailings, and they're getting ready to build Los Ricos South. So they have Los Ricos South and Los Ricos North. but it's just a really high quality project that, you know, I want to own it now. I'm not going to wait for it to get built. Um, and and I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, that nobody takes it. So here we have document phase. So we have these all as producers, and then we have, I have it as a producer, but it's really just tailings. They're really a developer. Then Silver Storm, they're a near-term producer. So I don't have any data in there for them. I Yeah, so I don't know if they've done a PEA yet. I don't think so. I think they're getting ready. They've just been drilling, but they're going to restart a mine that they acquired from First Majestic, and it's going to produce 2 to 3 million ounces a year, and their market cap's like 40 million. And let's see, 50. Let's go back. Their market cap is 34 million, and they're going to produce 2 to 3 million ounces a year with a low capex. And we're going to get their San Diego project basically for free. It is for free. And the San Diego project is 100 million ounces of silver, and then silver equivalent, I think it's like twice that. But it's going to produce around 6 million ounces a year, maybe eight. And we're getting that for free. So as long as this ramp up, I don't have it as, so you can see here, I have the blue is the green is the top 25. And you can see there's only one. I think there was two blacks on here. No, there's only one. Santa Cruz is the only one. It isn't the top pick. It's because they have a lot of debt and they have high costs. So I'm waiting for them to turn a corner. Once they turn a corner, this will turn blue or green and this will go to three. So we're getting really close. Silver Storm. So I have them as a B minus, and because we don't have a PA yet. We don't know exactly, you know, what's the path to production. Probably deserves to be a B, but I'm waiting for them to get further along. But this one could turn green B plus. This one could turn, Santa Cruz could turn blue three. This one could turn green. These could all. But a lot of these are going to come off because the only way that you get on my top 25 is if you're an have a chance at a five bagger. That's what these three fives are likely five baggers. But these could easily come off the list and turn black if they're once they're no longer five baggers. Right now they have huge upside, but 6 months from now, most of these stocks could come off. So like now's the time. Um, yeah, we're talking about Silver Storm. So the San Diego project, it's near their existing mine. That's the reason why they bought this mine, because they had the San Diego, and then First Majestic had this mine that was on care and maintenance in the same area. It's in the Durango state in Mexico. So they contacted First Majestic and made a deal, and now they're putting it in production. So they're going to use that free cash flow to advance San Diego. So that's the reason why I like it. Discovery, they're a near-term producer because they just made an acquisition of a big gold mine in Canada. And when you combine both of those, but the key on, so with Discovery, we were gambling on them getting their permit in Mexico, which I always thought they would get because it's in the Chihuahua district, which is basically a mining district, very pro-mining area. And I I always thought that Discovery would get their permit. And now this lowers the risk of Discovery now that they're going to become a gold miner. Because that project alone puts a bit of a floor under it. That project alone, this is what's really crazy, is that it's jumped to $900 million, but that's kind of what they're going to be producing 280,000 ounces of gold. That pretty much covers their market cap. So in other words, we're getting 1 billion ounces of silver for free. In other words, their project in Mexico are kind of getting for free here because the gold project in Mexico the gold project in Canada is worth their market cap. I love those situations. The last two are a little bit longer term, not super long term. Silver Tiger, they're trying to get their permit for, it's really a open pit gold. They're starting with, it's more gold revenue than silver revenue, but it's both. And then underground is all high grade silver. they want to build the open pit first because it's easier, and it's sitting there and it's a lot faster build, low capex, and they're like, we want to build this first. So they're once it's in Sonora, which is a great place to mine. I'm confident they're going to get it. So I have it as a B plus. And so the combination of the open pit and the underground makes Silver Tiger give them a ton of leverage. Then Vizsla, I think I have Vizsla as an A minus and Silver Tiger's a B plus. I think that this Vizsla's project is probably they probably have the best silver project on the planet. If you saw their PEA, the NAV was 5 times higher than the CapEx. You never see that. 3x is great. 5x is like amazing. They're going to mine, I forget, I think it's either 13 or 18 million ounces of silver a year, and the CapEx was like 250 million. It was fantastic. And this property it's they're not done finding more. Um, so yeah, and they have enough insiders to prevent, like right here's the insiders, 25%. That's usually enough to prevent a hostile takeover, and they're not going to sell this thing unless some type of a merger of equals that makes sense. But other than the Vizsla project, you have the Boumadine project, which is fantastic. Then you have the Los Ricos project, Go Gold. Then you have Cordero, which is Discovery's project. There's not that many fantastic silver projects out there. They're very rare. I mean, we only have 15 silver producers. They're super rare. Okay, now I wanted to talk about the companies that aren't on here and kind of why they're not on here. So what I could do is I can actually, this premium is, if you have a premium subscription, you get all these searches. I just added a Canadian 8 yesterday. So here we have newsletter silver miners. So these are all the silver miners that I like, 86. And now we can, on this list, I can show you the ones that are not on it. So the first one would be Southern Silver. So Southern, you're going to go, Don, why isn't Southern Silver on here? Southern Silver market cap of 50 million, and they have 200 or 300 million ounces of silver, trading at 25 cents ounce in the ground. But we don't, the problem is we don't know what they're going to sell for. We don't know how fast that 25 cents is it going to go to $1.25? Remember all those other stocks that I showed you are all basically 8 baggers or better. I don't know if Southern Silver is, it's down here. I'm sorry, it's 58. I don't know if Southern Silver is an 8 bagger, so that's why it's not on here. Next one is Sun Silver. This is another one that's early. They have like 200 million ounces of silver in Nevada, trading at 60 million, but we don't have a PEA yet on them. It's just too early to make a top 20 list, but it's definitely a stock to watch. Next one I have is Abra Silver, and Abra is trading at 325, and so if they sell their company, we're not going to get a 9 bagger, are we? To get on my list, you need to be a 9 bagger. Let's put it that way. So Abra, I'm thinking we're only going to get maybe a 2 bagger out of it because I think they're going to sell. Actually think they're going to sell to Kinross. Kinross has they own shares. I forget how much. I think maybe it was. Let's go take a look. If we go to the notes, it's going to show you how much. So I have Kinross only at 4%. Eric Sprout at 10, and then the Central Puerto at 10. But I think that Kinross is really the one. Let's go back here. I think that Kinross is going to buy it and build it. So that's why it's not on here. Aftermath Silver, trading at 130. If they build this mine, Aftermath could make this list. They have enough insiders to prevent a hostile takeover. If they want to take this to production, I have 30% insiders here. If they want to take this to production, they can. Um, and so Aftermath, I just said it could make this list. I'm a little concerned that they're considering calling this a manganese mine because I think they should be calling it a low cost silver mine because eventually, like manganese, yes, it's has the most revenue right now. Like 50% of the revenue is manganese. But if silver prices go to $50, silver is going to have the highest revenue. So if they're forward looking, they'll consider this a low cost silver mine. Um, Next one is Apollo Silver. I don't, yeah, Apollo's on my list. So Apollo, it's the reason why Apollo, they have a market cap of 55. They have a lot of silver. I don't have as a top pick. I have as a B minus, 2.5. The reason why is because Apollo's in California. I've had bad luck with California. So, there's certain places that I've had bad luck, so I downplay them. Some people, they don't have a problem with California because California, there's quite a few mines in California right now. Like Equinox has, I think, two producing mines there. Uh, Andean has a producing mine. And so Apollo, I think, is in a good location, San Bernardino County, but I'm I'm just, they just have one mine in California, so that's the reason why I don't have Apollo on it. Bear Creek, Bear Creek, their project, can't think of the name of it. Karani, the Karani project. I mean, we're paying $63 million for Karani. It's just a steal. Because Karani is a very big silver project. If they can finance the capex, and I think once silver gets above 35, I think they'll be able to finance the capex. They've been very patient. They haven't sold. If they've waited this long, I'm hoping they wait till the finish line. So our worry here is that they JV it or option it or sell it. We don't want that to happen. We want them to build Karani. If they build Karani, it makes that 10 bagger. I mean, Karani's going to be worth a lot of money. Next one is Silver X. So Silver X, I mean, they're struggling. I mean, they have a market cap of 35 million and they're having trouble. They're like Guanajuato. They're like, they have basically an ASIC around $25. They're just, they don't have a great balance sheet. They're kind of struggling. They're trying to, but if they survive, this is a stock that has some huge leverage. They have a lot of silver equivalent. I like the stock, just fingers crossed that they survive or they don't dilute us too severely. But they have 30% insiders, which is great. So no one's going to steal this thing. That's one of those ones. It just the risk reward isn't good enough for the top 20, but it's definitely a stock to either watch or bet on. You could gamble. The next two is Summa and BlackRock. I'll do them together because they're both in Nevada. They're both well, Suma's a lot cheaper. Suma's at 37 million. It's a lot juicier, $45 million, 45% ownership. But I don't know if we're going to get a 10 bagger, so I don't think it deserves to be on this list. But Suma, as far as the drill story goes, it looks pretty darn cheap. And then if we go to BlackRock, they're not as cheap. They're at 68. And so if I had to choose between them, I would definitely like Suma better, but they're not 10 baggers. I don't believe belong on here. Bunker Hill could easily make this list. They're going into production, 65 million. It's hard. It's actually hard for me to leave them off, but they're currently a near-term producer. They're building. So once they get into production, if they can generate some free cash flow, this thing could easily turn green. This could go to 3. This could go to B very quickly if they have a good quarter. So Bunker Hill is definitely a stock you want to keep an eye on. It's in Idaho and they have a ton of potential. I do own it and for that potential. Argenta, so Argenta I recently purchased and I'm up pretty good. I basically bought this thing on the dip. Well, it's 18 cents. I think I paid 19 cents Canadian. It was like just crazy cheap and now it's starting to inch up. Oh, Canadian's 26, so I paid 19 Canadian, so I got in at the bottom. Um, they got a project from oh gosh, how come it's not, I should know the name of it. Gold and silver. Um, I can't think of the name of it. Let's go look it up. But they basically stole this thing. They paid like $10 million for it. I'm gonna have it in the notes. Let me scroll down. I mean, golden minerals. So I don't know why I couldn't think of gold minerals. Um, but they just paid like $10 million for this project, and it has 48 million ounces, and I think it's going to grow to at least 65. So at 65, you're looking at probably a 4 million ounce producer. 4 million ounce producer, and you're paying 35 million for it. Plus, Frank Gustra, he has a strong involvement in this company, and he wants this company to grow. So from that standpoint, um, that one could make this list. Impact Silver. Impact Silver is probably this is the one that I booted off, but they're only producing 1 million ounces, 45 million. But I think that if they can get to 2 million ounces, this thing could easily be a 10 bagger. So this one could easily make the list. I do like their property. They actually have two properties now. This high grade zinc that they just bought and they're expanding, plus their very large silver property that has like 100 past producing mines with a ton of targets on it. I do own Impact. Impact could have easily made this list. The next one that could easily made the list that you're going to say why isn't it on there is Mag Silver, but I don't think Mag's a 10 bagger, and Mag, in my opinion, is just a royalty company. I have them as a mid-tier producer, but they're not really a producer. They're more of a royalty company because they own 44% of a company. It's an option. It's a JV. So they're not the operator. They don't do any exploration. They just get paid. So they're more of a royalty company than anything else. So that's why they're not on here. Outcrop. Outcrop is, I have them as a late stage, but I think, I'm hoping they go into production. Um, but they might not. They might just drill and sell. And if they drill and sell, there's no way this thing's a 10 bagger. It could be a 10 bagger if they go into production. That's why I do think these guys are going to pivot into production because um, I talked to the CEO and he's an engineer and he said that it would be really low capex for them to mine some of their stuff because it's high grade and they can use ore sorting. And so it's and he's an engineer, so the CEO is an engineer. And he's done these before, and so I think they could easily pivot into being a producer. If that happens, they have 30% insiders. Eric Sprott has a big position, so let's hope that happens. One last one is New Pacific. So some people are going to say, Don, why isn't New Pacific? Because New Pacific has a really large project and they're a developer. The problem with New Pacific is Silvercorp owns 25% of the company, and I think Silvercorp is going to um, end up buying this and building this company, building this project. So I they're not going to top 20 because I don't have confidence that they're going to get to production. But if New Pacific was because they have this high insiders, if 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 I was confident they were going to build a project, it would make the list. Oh, I have one more, Unico. The last one that I think has uh, you know probably could make this list is Unico. Take a look at that stock. It's in Argentina. It's a big silver project going to production. Um, so, okay, guys, that's it. Let's see if I can. Mhm.